everyone. We talk frequently here about finding the courage to use our voices, even when it's hard. And we've been through a lot together this year. We've shared what's gone on in our lives at a personal level, and we have been in this together. And now we have Biden, who's been elected and will be sworn in just a few short weeks. And meanwhile, we're still fighting it out in Georgia. There's so much more to be done. There's so much more work to do together. And so we are going to have to keep digging deep in this dark winter of COVID that we knew was coming and is here. This might even get a little bit harder, but we know if we're willing to do this work and willing to stick with it together, we can find that courage. And our guest tonight, I mean, y'all, she is just someone who embodies courage. After her teenage son, Jordan, was violently shot and killed for playing loud music, she found profound purpose in her life. She became a fierce advocate for gun safety, and she has now even become, she was just reelected even as the congresswoman from Newt Gingrich's former district in Georgia. Representative Lucy McBath is here with us tonight.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be with Red Wine and Blue tonight.
Hey, cheers to that and cheers to you. How are you doing in the midst of everything there? I know you're in Georgia tonight. You've been back and forth into DC. How are you keeping it together?
Well, I have to say, it's been a really tough 2 years. We have, overcome a great number of hurdles. But there again, the operative word is overcoming. We've been overcoming over and over and over again. So just looking forward to the future now, looking forward to being able to govern and maybe not putting out so many fires, but really helping the country get back on its feet.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I have just recently finished reading your book, Standing Our Ground. Here it is, everybody. She looks so beautiful. You look the same in real life, though. And I just have to say, I am just still breathless, really, from the experience of reading the book. I will tell everyone watching, I will turn to this book again and again to find my courage. And what makes it so real, I think, not just that connection that you make with us readers who are moms in particular, but you don't do it as though courage is something that, a hard thing happened to me and I just decided to be courageous. I mean, you pour your heart out in this book and you make clear, you communicate the pain. You invite us in to everything you went through around the killing of your son, but also everything else in your life that brought up, your entire journey. And that's why I think I'll come back to it again and again, because you're so real. You share deeply. We know how important vulnerability is to finding courage, and you go there. And I just have to ask you this, though. I mean, are there moments when you're just like, I cannot hold this together anymore. Like, life is a hot mess. This is too much. Like, you have done an amazing thing in your life and getting where you are. It is an incredible story. What do you do? What do you do in those moments?
Well, Katie, absolutely. I, like everybody else, I have so many moments of weakness, so many moments when I feel like I don't know if I can keep pushing forward, because I feel like at times that I wear, a very heavy mantle on my shoulders. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the only one. As women, we always do. We wear many hats. But with having taken on the NRA gun lobby and taken on, the responsibility to care for my constituents and to make sure that democracy works for everyone in the country, there are days when I just say, I don't know if I have the strength. It's not the courage. I am fairly fearless because I feel like there has been so much that's happened in my life. It's like, bring it on. What else
Mm.
is there left, for me to be afraid of? Because I have overcome so much, as women often do. But there are days when I literally just feel like I don't know if I have the energy. I don't know if I have the will today to do it. But I always find that sense of spirit and that will, because I know I have to. And I get up and I put my shoes on. And this is funny, but I put my big girl panties on and I go back to work, because I know when I'm not working, people are not served, people are not cared for, people are not kept safe. And democracy might not work for just someone I may never even meet in my lifetime. And that's always what gets me back up and out the door every single day, making sure that I am doing whatever I can in my limited time and my limited space to make a difference, a tangible difference for people around me and the future of our children.
Yeah. You are so clear in communicating, and an openness to the opportunities that have come your way to use your voice, and your willingness to step in and take that opportunity. I mean, you see it as a call. And it made me think, just about in this hard moment we're in as a country. So many Americans have experienced profound loss, losing friends, losing family members. This is happening every single day right now. Do you think that we might be in a collective moment where we might be able to find something new within ourselves? What might that look like? You have some experience with the hard things and what can come after.
I think in moments like this where people are really suffering and, we're not able to live our lives normally as we have, and our reality looks so different than what it has in the past. I think we are doing a lot of introspective, insight, looking within ourselves and, finding the courage to do things differently, finding the courage to step outside the box and do things that we've never done before, because it's a matter of survival. Yeah. We are in a matter of, we're in a time where we are doing everything that we can to survive, not in a way that we have in the past, but this is our new normal for now. And so I think people are really just taking a deep dive into their lives, how they've lived them, what's important to them, who's important to them, and what they want their future to look like. And deciding that they might have to live differently or do things differently or to grow. Yeah. I have found people around me that are finding ways to continue to grow and expand in the wisdom and their knowledge, not only just for themselves, but because it matters for people around them.
Yeah.
And that we're helping people, not just ourselves, but we're helping pull others along the way that might be lost and, not finding their way at this point, especially if they've lost their loved ones or they lost their jobs or they lost their health care, their health insurance, they've lost their way. And so I think, people are finding ways to pick up the pieces again. And it doesn't look the same for everyone. It might look completely different for everyone, but, finding ways to pick up the pieces again and to move forward. But I really have sensed this profound sense of community in a way I've not seen this in my lifetime, where people are really reaching out and embracing and helping others find their way too. And I think that's where we are. I truly believe that, and I'm a woman of very deep faith, and I truly believe that none of this is taking God by surprise. And I truly believe that sometimes he allows us to fall. He allows us to be in these spaces and places and these times and moments so that we'll begin to understand what's most important again. and understand who we are in him, who we are as a people, who we are as Americans. And, because we had kind of lost our way. But I believe we were losing our way. And so now being forced to find out what's important in our lives and our families and our future and democracy, and hold fast to that, and be mindful that if we are lackadaisical, if we are apathetic, we will lose who we are as a nation. We will lose who we are as human beings. We'll lose our sense of empathy and compassion and our sense of democracy.
Mm. Okay, so the answer is yes. We do have an opportunity. Yes,
we do.
Yes.
We do.
Yes. Yeah. I love how you speak in the book, when Jordan would ask you questions about come on, Mom, like, how are we supposed to have faith right now with all this going down, and how you would just answer straight and take on those hard questions, and, just as you have right now. I mean, God, you do this so well. I have to ask you about, there's a constant theme in this book of Jordan foreseeing his death.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, you guys, the congresswoman, while her son was still living, a teenager, you were involved in community theater, and you played the role of a woman who had lost her son to gun violence. This is before what happened with the loss of your son. But over and over again, you conveyed these conversations that you all, this is my favorite parts of the book, just talking about the talks that you all would have. And so often, you said, you say in the book over and over, I cannot help but wonder what Jordan knew. Given all of that, how does your sense that Jordan knew what was going to happen to him, how does that impact how you take in the world day to day?
Well, I there's no doubt that my life imitated my art.
Oh, yes, amazing.
And the fact that I playing a mother who had lost her son to gun violence was, and actually the movie was called Standing Our Ground. Yeah. So anyway, but I just, Jordan and I would always have these really deep discussions about life philosophically. I just couldn't understand where he had such just wisdom, this just innate instinctive wisdom. He understood things. He knew things that I kept saying, how do you know this? How are you putting together, I'm asking him questions. How are you putting together hypothetically? How are you doing all of this? But I always did ask God that he would give Jordan profound wisdom and understanding. But there again, I think Jordan knew intuitively, instinctively. I think Jordan knew that he was not always meant to be here, that he would never really grow fully into manhood. With the discussions that we would have at the kitchen table, most specifically after he went to live with his father in Jacksonville. And, he went to live with his father because I was going through my treatments for breast cancer.
Right.
And of course, the intention was that he would go finish high school in Jacksonville, then come back to Georgia and go to college or go to the military. But when he would come back, and I would always be in the kitchen cooking or whatever. And, he would be eating and just saying, things like, Mom, are you going to be okay when I die?
Yeah.
Are you going to be okay? Are you going to be able to manage? Are you going to be able to move forward? And just, these questions would just pierce my soul. Like, why are you asking me this, Jordan? You're going to be fine. You're going to be happy. God has promised me you're going to have a long, fruitful life. You're going to get married. I'm going to have grandchildren. And he would say things, but Mom, you don't know what's in store. None of us knows what's in store. God is the only one who truly knows and understands what's in store. But what I need to know from you is, are you going to be okay? Will you manage without me if something happens to me? And he wanted me to be, he was pushing me to be reassured in my own self that I would be okay and that I would move forward without him.
Yeah.
And those extremely difficult conversations to have. And so we had so many of them that I think that had a lot to do with the fact that my son had no fear. He didn't fear anything, anyone, because I think he understood that, as he would always say, Mom, I'm not afraid because I know when my time comes, I know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I will be at home with Jesus, and you all will be here on earth still suffering. And I'm not afraid. So, in those moments, I draw back on those moments and those conversations that I had with Jordan all the time, especially when there are the really difficult moments when I feel like I might not understand my way, where I'm going, or I might have a sense of ambiguity or anxiety about what I'm called to do, or what God is calling me to, as he continues to expand my territory and grow me and what he's calling me to do for his people. And so I go back to those conversations because my son just was the perfect example of just strength and courage in those moments. And that's what I have to draw on as my role gets bigger, as my work expands. And I understand how important it is that I really care for the people that God has given me charge over.
Wow. What a source. When you say it's not the courage, it's the hard part. It's finding the strength. I mean, wow, just what a source you have to go to. That's profound. I want to ask you about, you're clearly a woman of profound faith. As a Christian, something that you talk a lot about is pro-gun Christian culture in America. And you are just uniquely well suited to speak to that because you are a woman of such genuine faith who is a gun safety advocate. You write in your book something that is so beautiful. As Christians, we have replaced God with our guns. Instead of looking to God as the protector, we're looking at guns as the protector. And that's not the word of God. And my question is, do you think that we need to do more to speak to pro-gun Christians? Have you seen this message move people? I just think so many people who are with you on this issue want to know, how do we change hearts and minds? How can we, continue to make progress? I know as a mom, the idea of worrying about sending my sons to school with the threat of gun violence, I mean, it's unreal, and this goes on. And so what is your perspective on how, I just think that's so unique, how you speak genuinely as a Christian to our gun culture that is tied up in the Christian faith in America? What more can we do, and what do you see the potential there?
Well, I think the only way that you can truly speak to the essence of what needs to be done about gun safety is from the heart of our faith. Because if we are to truly call ourselves Christians, then we understand, according to the Bible, that, to take another human being's life is not, the word of God. Thou shalt not kill. I think the problem too that we've had is that I have to be honest. I question all the time the hypocrisy of Christians hiding behind their faith as a way to substantiate their stance on guns. Mm-hmm. And what I truly mean when I said in the book is that, if we are looking to God as our protector, if we're looking to God as the essence of, in the Bible, it says, do not be afraid or worried about tomorrow. Don't be afraid as to what you're going to wear or, what you're going to eat. God provides all those things for us. And so God does give us a sense of protection and a hedge of protection over us. We're not to live in fear. And what I find hard and difficult to deal with when I'm speaking with Christians that are advocating more guns on the street is I said, well, that's directly opposed to the word of God.
Mm. Yeah.
Because God says that we're not to fear man, we're not to take life. And the work that I do with gun safety is really to help you, the law-abiding gun owner, feel secure enough in your everyday life that you don't feel you need a gun on the street, or you don't need to have a gun to protect yourself. So if we are supposed to be, protectors of one another, protectors of mankind, brothers and sisters, then it is our responsibility to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to protect human life. That's what pro-life is, not just in the womb. Pro-life is in the womb, growing, existing life. And so that means from beginning to end, we're to protect all life. And, there's nowhere in the Bible that advocates we take a life if we feel afraid. There's nowhere in the Bible that it advocates that we carry guns and ammunition. There's nowhere in the Bible. And I always say all the time is that what Bible are people reading? What Bible are you studying? Because there's nothing in the Word of God that advocates that we take life. We preserve life. So what I say to them is that is all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to take guns from law-abiding gun owners that are using their guns properly if they want to hunt or do the skeet shooting or, any of those things. But help me, you, the law-abiding Christian, law-abiding gun owner, help me to put you in a position where you never have to use your gun and you never have to take a life.
I love how you make that an invitation, that you close the distance between you and who you're speaking to that may come to a different position, and you invite them to join you where you are. And so genuinely. And I think that sometimes we feel stuck in our opposing views, and something that we talk a lot about in our communities is how to have these conversations that can be painful among family members, among friends. And I think that you've just shown us how, perhaps, to be able to enter into some of these conversations.
And a lot of it too is building bridges. I mean, it's really building bridges with people that don't necessarily think like you do.
Yeah.
And how else are we to come to any kind of conclusions or solutions if we're not willing to build consensus? I do that all the time in Washington. Every piece of legislation I've passed has been bipartisan, always reaching across the aisle to build the bridges with people that don't necessarily think like me, or don't really understand what it is I truly do think or am trying to accomplish. Yeah. So opening up that dialogue, having these heart-to-heart conversations, that's how you change people's minds and change people's hearts, because that's the only way it can be done.
Well, some people don't think that's possible anymore. So you are defying that. And I think we need your example, probably now more than ever. All right. Before we get to our fun rapid fire closer here and invite our good friend Julie and a few other women to join us here, we've got to talk about this Georgia runoff, because we have thousands of women in our community who are Georgia residents who have been casting those. I mean, you would love it. There are every day hundreds of women posting these selfie, shots saying 2 more votes in for, Warnock and Ossoff. And we got the rest of our, these hundreds of thousands of women across the country cheering them on, participating in phone banking and text banking and volunteer recruitment. In fact, at 8:00 tonight, we are having in our community one of our get-togethers. I don't know if it's a Vino the Vote or a tequila and texting or whatever tonight, where women get together and we just, have the sisterhood and we get some stuff done together. And so, that's part of why we wanted to have, I mean, I could talk to you all day, all night, any day of the year, but we're in a Georgia moment. You guys, my parents live in Lucy McBath's district. It's so cool. All right. So everybody watching, Beverly put it up on the screen. If you want to come on and get involved, go to redwine.blue/peaches. If you want to come and have a good time and volunteer with some other women to help out in Georgia. But I would love to hear, how do you think it's looking down there? And what do you think can be accomplished if Raphael Warnock, the Reverend, and John Ossoff get elected here? And what do you fear will happen if Republicans maintain control and we continue to see that unbalance?
Well, what's happening here is amazing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. In all the years that I've lived in Georgia, and I've been here since 1990, I've never seen anything like this before. And rest assured, it didn't just happen overnight. I mean, this has been growing and building. We've been mobilizing and organizing for some time now, especially with all the voter suppression that we've suffered by, and we have a long legacy and history here in Georgia of civil and human rights, voting rights. And so what you see now is just people being completely engaged and activated in making sure that every vote counts and that everyone has the ability to exercise the right to vote. Because you've got the legacy of, John Lewis and all these phenomenal human beings that have been so instrumental in making sure that we have access to the voting box and
standing on his shoulders.
Right. Absolutely. So, we are energized, but I have to say thank you to every single one of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For all of you outside of Georgia, here in Georgia too, but outside of Georgia that are investing your time and your energy and your talent and making phone calls. I mean, you are the ones that are really helping us to put Georgia on the map. And just people are so excited. We're so engaged. We've had over 2.3 million people already vote early.
Yes.
Yes.
In a special election.
In a special election. Yes. So the energy is high. The races are going to be tight. They're going to be tight, but we brought home the presidency and the vice presidency. Georgia is on everyone's mind. And so there is so much excitement here, so much work that's been done by the Democratic Party of Georgia. Of course, No Safe Seats, New Georgia Project, Fair Fight. I mean, all these organizations and entities that have been really on the ground. But, I just have to say the volunteers have been phenomenal.
Amazing.
We could not have done this without you.
And you all don't forget, it's not too late to donate too. We have a fund, our Suburban Woman Fund. We call it drinkcheapwine.com. And the funds automatically get split. Every dollar gets split between Ossoff, Warnock, and Fair Fight. And we call it Drink Cheap Wine. So the idea is that between now and the runoff, just pick up that $2 check instead of anything nicer. And the rest of your money, just send it on to Georgia. It's too important not to.
We appreciate it because, there's so much at stake. Yeah. All the pieces of bipartisan legislation that we have passed in the House is sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk.
Yes.
He refuses it to take it. He refuses for the democratic process to work out and be played out the way that it's supposed to. He is not supposed to be the one to, to hold back the legislation. He's supposed to bring it to the floor, let the Senate decide. If they're unhappy with it, then they bring it back to us. We retweak it. That's how democracy works. So we need those 2 Senate seats just to make sure that democracy, once again, is working in the way that it ought to.
All right. You heard her, everyone. We got to keep going. January 5th is around the corner. Let's make every moment count. All right. Let's wrap this up with a few of these quick rapid fire questions, and then we'll bring on the ladies. So you ready?
Ready.
A piece of advice you would give your teenage self.
Don't be too worried about what other people think, and don't try to please everyone. Just be who you are and be your best.
Your favorite guilty pleasure?
Reality TV.
Oh, we're all of you. The person you would most want to share a glass of wine with?
Michelle Obama. I am reading her book right now, and it is fantastic. I would love to pick her brain.
Oh, such a good book. One thing you are grateful for right now?
I'm very grateful, no matter what has happened in my life, whether it be good or bad or ugly or tragedy. Everything I know is for my good. And I'm grateful to be able to really, to tangibly be able to serve my country.
Thank you so much for your time, for this time together. I want to bring on Julie Collins and a few other ladies that we have with us tonight. Julie Collins, because we have two Julies here with us tonight. Who wants to take the lead in introducing everyone else to say hello to the amazing Congresswoman from Georgia?
Julie Collins can, because I interrupted her last time we did this.
Well, you already know me.
I know you so well.
I go back several years, and I have to tell you, we have to have a side conversation because we need you here right now in Columbus, Ohio. We've had 2 high-profile police shootings in the last 4 weeks, and we have some people who could, probably, hear your voice and get your wisdom. But I believe these 2 ladies that we have here, Joni and is it Orvie, live in your district. Am I correct, ladies?
Yes.
So they're down in your area in Georgia. And so, we have all been working very hard, like Katie told you, to help with the elections. And so we're very excited watching Georgia, here from Ohio and all around the country. So.
Thank you, Julie. I miss you.
I miss you.
Went off and got married and everything.
I know.
I know, right?
Good thing.
All right. Well, ladies, we're going to let you take it from here. And we just want to thank you so much, Congresswoman, for being with us tonight and providing that dose of courage and strength that we all need and can find together. And just thank you.
Thank you so much. I enjoy you all so much.
All right. Julie's, take it from here.
Okay. All right. So I will start. I know we've already kind of introduced ourselves. I'm Julie Womack. I am the organizing director for Red, Wine, and Blue. And you've already heard Julie Collins, who's an organizer with us. Ladies, I'm going to let you 2 Georgia ladies reintroduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about where we know you live in Lucy's district. So you can just say hi and tell us whatever you want to tell us about yourself. Joni, you can go first.
Okay. Hi. Once again, I'm Joni Shubin. I lived in this district since 1978, and I am so delighted to finally say I have a Democrat in Lucy McBath representing me. It has been a long, hard fight, but it came to fruition, and things are really looking good in this district now. And I am the co-founder of Jewish Democratic Women's Salon, and we are a group of 1,600 women in the Atlanta area that work on local and state issues, and as well as election campaigns.
Awesome. I love hearing of engaged women, and I know I always pronounce this wrong. I just met Orvie. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm sorry. But I met her today. We had a long conversation, and I know she's been engaged too, as much as you can when you have little children at home, because you've got little kids. And I know we all have that range of stuff, but you were telling me about your activism. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are.
So I'm Orvie. I moved to Georgia actually from Western New York 13 years ago. And I was actually originally, when we moved, we were in John Lewis's district. So that was kind of amazing. I got to vote for him at least one time. And then we moved to Roswell, which is very, very red, very, very red. But now we have Lucy McBath. So that's quite exciting. I do have two young children. I have a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old. Actually, just right now, I was just getting messages about help to stuff ballot curing packets. So I'm about to run out after this to go grab some ballot curing packets to stuff. So that's the type of stuff that I can actually, text banking, calling, canvassing. It's a little bit harder for me. But give me some postcards. I'll write postcards. Give me some ballot curing stuff that we have to do. I'll get the kids involved to do that. My older one has helped in the past with writing out postcards to voters. And I have received so far 5 handwritten postcards. I don't know if Joni, if you've received very many, but I've gotten
All over
5.
the
They've
country.
all been from, 2 have been from San Francisco, 1 has been from Seattle, and a couple of the others, I think one was from the Ohio area and 1 was from Michigan. So we're getting it from all over the country, and for me, it's very appreciative. I don't mind the text messages that I get every day. I don't mind the postcards that come in. I like keeping them. I like looking at them. I like seeing people engaged and involved and
I love hearing, I love hearing all of you guys doing action, and that's what we're really trying to encourage everybody who's watching is to get involved. You can join us. We're doing texting. We're trying to get people to talk to their friends and their family who live in Georgia. We use an app called Outvote that Beverly just threw up on the screen. So if you guys are interested in doing that, you can download that. We have an event starting at 8 o'clock. Julie and I are literally going to jump off here and jump over to Zoom and do an event. So we would love to have you all check that out too. If Beverly has that, maybe she can put that up. I'm not sure if we have the link there, but so Julie, tell us, how do you know Lucy? Because clearly you're friends. So
I'll tell you, when Jordan was killed, she and Ron, Jordan's dad, were on a national show. I don't know what I was watching that day. And I remember her saying that the way that she was going to continue to be his mother, to continue being Jordan's mother, was to do the work that she has done with getting involved with gun violence prevention. And I don't even think she was with Mom's Demand yet at that time. And so later on in that year, because that was 2013, I saw her. Well, I tried to connect with her when we were at the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, and that fell kind of through. But we got together a couple months later, and we just hit it off and been fast friends. You know, we'd been texting back and forth prior to that, talked on the phone. But that day that I saw her on TV and she said that just impressed me so much. And I said, I'm going to be her friend. I want to know her. I'm going to be her friend. And so then she got involved with Mom's Demand. I had already been involved with Mom's Demand because I got involved in February of 2013. And so, you know, we just have kind of, you know, stayed in touch and done things and lobbied Congress together and been with the CBC and all of that. And so I was really excited when she decided to run for office and, you know, grab that seat, and just have been so very proud of her and watching her, you know, just really shine and being on congressional panels and, you know, and taking people to task and everything. It's just been really great. It's just been fantastic to watch.
Well, I'll say the one thing that I found. So I've been talking to a lot of women in Georgia, trying to just meet people down there. And I will say, every time I talk to somebody who lives in the 6th congressional district, one of the very first things they say is, "I'm in Lucy McBath's district." Like it's like a badge of like honor. I feel like for you guys that you like live in that district. So I'm sure John Lewis is too. But Joni, you were telling me, and I'd love for you to tell the history. You were telling me a little bit about the history because I had family in Marietta, and so I clearly remember going down there. I think it was in the 90s where there were big Newt Gingrich signs. And you were telling me that like, it was worse. Like it goes back further. The fact that she now sits in that seat's amazing. So what was your district like? How has it changed since you've been there since 78?
Since 78. I've always been politically active. And so from the minute I moved into the Cobb County area, District 6, I was always working on campaigns for the Democratic candidate, and I'd have bumper stickers all over my car. I can't tell you how many times I had to get my car repainted. It got keyed over and over and over again. And my husband finally saying, "You just got to stop this. We can't afford to repaint the car one more time." I mean, you'd be in a garage, in a grocery store parking lot and come back and I'd have whatever the Democratic candidate's bumper sticker on my car, and my whole car would be keyed. It was really uncomfortable. And what people found was Democrats were so quiet in Cobb County. There were actually more than we thought, but we were so intimidated by people around us in our neighborhoods. And finally, as demographics started to really change and people were being energized, people were getting more and more involved in politics, especially women, that we started to find each other, and we started putting together women's groups, and that really helped bring out the Democratic vote, which is great. And I just wanted to say one thing. There was a, because I can't, like, it's been said tonight that how much we appreciate all of y'all's help. It just energizes us every day. And there was a journalist who wrote an article who said, the United States, we are all now Georgians. And that's how we really feel. We are, this country, all the Democrats who are helping us move the needle, we're all Georgians. And we really appreciate all your help, because it has been, Uray could agree with me, it's been exhausting.
That's the word I was going to use.
Who are working, but it is, you know, and I hear people say, oh, the election's over, we can rest now. Well, not
No, you can't. Maybe soon, right? Maybe after January 5th, you'll get a slight break, but
maybe a month, right, Joni? And then we got to focus on Stacy.
I know. I know. And one of the great things is that we're all connected now, all of our groups, and we have to keep working together nationally to help each other out. As women, I think we're doing an unbelievable job.
That's fabulous. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with Red, Wine, and Blue, is just bring women in, because we know women are going to, I think Lucy said that, like, the burden's on our shoulders. We have so many burdens. And so women are the ones who get stuff done. But Orvie, you said the same thing to me when you were talking, was that you were, when you moved to Roswell, like, it was so conservative, and you were so excited to find women who thought like you, and that you were kind of surprised, right?
It was very shocking, and in a good way, to find a group of women that didn't look like me, that weren't people of color, that were actually white women. And I know Black women are amazing. They're the ones, we owe everything to Black women, 100%, hands down. I'm the first to say it. I have multicultural friends, but all of my white friends have always leaned toward the conservative side. So when I met a group of white women, I was very shocked, pleased and shocked too, to find white women that cared about people of color. And that's, in Georgia, it was shocking to find for me. You know, and especially living in Roswell, we are this little red pocket right north of Atlanta, and coming from the city of Atlanta and moving to Roswell, it was hard, you know, it was very hard, but I was so happy to have found even a small group. And then that group just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's, you know, I'm branched off into a bunch of different groups. I'm in an Asian group that helps with Asian voters now. I'm in strictly mom groups where we can, you know, support one another and support small businesses that are liberal leaning. And, you know, we couldn't do that before. We couldn't ask, is this person a conservative? Are they a Republican? Do they support Trump? We couldn't, there's no way we could have asked that. But we found that. And that to me is amazing. You know, just like Joni's group that can help people of Jewish faith find one another. Like, it's so nice to have been able to find people that think like you and support your values and not get the side eye that you would normally get. I put out my Ossoff sign in my small neighborhood of 14, and I didn't know it at the time, but we weren't allowed any political signs. We're not allowed them in our windows. We're not allowed them anywhere where it can be seen from the public access street. So I could put it in my house as long as it didn't face out. Well, I stuck that sign in the bush, and my husband was like, let's see how long this takes for someone to complain. And it was 2 weeks before we finally got a notice saying, you know, you're not. And I was like, well, we just declared ourselves the Democrats of this neighborhood, you know, and it's true. When we get people canvassing, I ask, because I'm nosy, and I say, what other houses did you go to down the street?
It's always fun to find that out, right? Like,
I mean, and they told me, you know, like, I went to the house, this one and this one, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense, you know. But I have to tell you, just finding other women has been very uplifting.
And I will say that's the one thing that we love about our group, and we hope that if you guys are part of our Facebook group, which is Suburban Housewives Against Trump, we have a sister group, which is Suburban Women for Kamala Harris. For all of you ladies in Georgia, we have just started a Facebook page that is just for Georgia women. So Red Wine and Blue Decanted Georgia. This part of the thing that I love about these groups is that it is very supportive. It's kind of finding your people who have similar views and feelings like you do. And it's a very supportive community. And that's what we really want to do, is to build that community. So I'm going to actually have to end this because Julie and I have to jump to our next thing. Julie, do you just want to kind of tell them what we're doing and we will sign off?
Yes, we're going to have our tequilas and texting. And so what we will be doing during that time frame is texting our friends in Georgia and our friends who might have friends in Georgia to make sure that everybody gets out and votes. And, we also have, I think, peer-to-peer that we're doing too, right? Yep. We're doing some texting as well for folks that we might not know. So you might get more texts today.
Probably not. I'm guessing they voted. We're going to text people who haven't voted yet. But okay. I want to thank both of you guys for coming on. We really
thank you for having us.
And thank everybody again. We really appreciate all your help.
Okay, you guys hang in there. You're almost at the end. It's coming soon. But thank you guys all for coming on, and thank you all for watching. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.